Welcome to this week's live Q&A. It has been a few minutes since we last did one, and I know that you guys got a lot of questions. So let's answer some of these questions and help each other out. You guys know the rules. Drop your questions in the chat, and we will talk about them. If you want to come up on stage, ping me, and we can talk about it live. But we're going to get this thing going and share this out so that people start joining us. You guys always know it takes a few minutes to get people onto the live stream. So welcome if you are just joining us here. My name's Robert. I'm the founder of The College Investor, and I have been talking about student loans and financial aid for nearly 20 years. You guys have probably seen our videos. We cover a lot of this stuff: student loans, financial aid, saving for college, paying for college, a lot of general personal finance topics. And my goal here is to help you guys navigate this. So if you guys have a question about your loans or saving or paying for college or just general personal finances, you are in the right spot. All right. Let me share this out. Bear with me. Okay. Welcome, Moni and Jessica, Mateo and Jean. Thanks, guys, for being here. Siempre, welcome. Man, it's been a while since we've done a live. Hopefully people have been getting some summer in. Nice little summer break going. All right. Oh, thanks for the likes. Always appreciate it. Welcome, Amy. Mateo, you got your 90-day notice to switch. Can I go if oh, thanks for that. That's nice. If I switch on 1013, can I go into a processing forbearance? So, Mateo, if you are currently in the save forbearance, you're not going to get an additional forbearance by switching repayment plans. I'll also tell you that I'm seeing a lot of plans switching going pretty quick. I'd say about 70% or so are getting processed in a week or two. Yeah, there's a few people that are getting stuck in longer processing, but even them are getting the notice that, hey, we're going to put you in a processing forbearance. And then guess what? Like, they process it like a week later. I even saw in the last couple of days a few more of the 24-hour, 48-hour switches. So, Mateo, just be aware that you will apply, and it's highly likely that you're going to be enrolled in the repayment plan in like a week or two. It's not going to take a long time. With that being said, if you have to switch by 1014, I would personally apply on 929 and take advantage of the auto pay discount. Like, we're splitting hairs over 2 weeks, not going to make a big difference in your life. But why not save a little bit of money on interest if you can, if you're doing the work anyways, right? Like, really don't like leaving free money on the table for not really any hardship on my part per se. With that being said, what do we got last? Lisa, U of Arizona still can't accept people, Parent Plus or student loans. They say there is a federal delay. So, Lisa, we are hearing some stories, and we saw this in the graduate school arena back in June, that financial aid offices are having trouble getting their student loans dispersed to them. That's not really blocking anybody. The schools know, the financial aid offices know. They should be handling it with grace in terms of like what's available to you. I haven't heard of anybody like actually being impacted negatively by it per se. The grad school ones were a little different because some of those people rely on it for rent. So I don't know if you are a grad school, undergrad, what's that looks like. So yeah. Mateo, you got it. That's the plan. That's what I'd do. April, yeah. I think we're going to probably be in our 2nd million group of people getting it this next 30 days. August 1st, my first payment after leaving save on IBR now. Yeah, Kevin, there you go. So Kevin said that, bam, August 1st, coming up in 3 days. Sherry, thanks for the gift. Booster Gold, saving for a down payment on a home or extra payments to pay off my student loans faster. Thoughts? So Booster Gold, I would really just like, what is your goal with your student loans? Do you qualify for any type of loan forgiveness? If yes, go for that. If no, student loan repayment's great. The idea of the home down payment, though, buying a home is a preference, and it's generally not a mathematically good one, right? So it's always more expensive to buy than rent for the most part, especially if you're comparing like a 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom to what you could rent. Especially if you're going to rent a house versus not renting a house. So it's more expensive. It also has like golden handcuffs in a way, right? Huge transaction costs, less likely to be able to easily move for a job without paying for those large transaction costs and so forth. So I don't know where you're at in your life and what that looks like. I would personally, if I was younger, pay off my student loans, max my 401k, max my IRA, pay off any other consumer debt I have, and then like look for potentially purchasing a home at that point in time and saving for it. So a lot to that one. I know there's no clear answer, but just remember, a home's not a good investment. It's a personal preference. We all have to live somewhere. How much you want to pay and what that looks like is so incredibly personal. All right, EM, what do you recommend doing? Oh, wait, did I miss something that you said earlier? EM, what do you recommend doing? Was given incorrect payment from, oh wait, you got a second question here, second follow-up. Given incorrect payment by Mohila, they refuse to correct and they won't move me from forbearance, PSLF. EM, submit a new application. That's what you do. So if you got an incorrect repayment, you can do two things. You can either request the reconsideration, but you said they wouldn't do it. So I would just submit a new IDR application. I don't know what was incorrect and why. There's more to that story maybe, but just submit a new application. Michael, my tropical background is gone. Sad. Super sad on that side. Nurse, RLC, PSLF keeps changing, waiting for them to make a decision already. Nurse, I'm really concerned on what you're saying there because PSLF hasn't changed a lick. Nothing has changed. So what are you seeing and what are you thinking? Because there's no changes on that front. April, should I wait until right before my 90 days to finish to sign up with a payment plan? April, you changing payment plans should not be dictated on what the government tells you. You need to make the best choice for your own personal financial situation. So if you are going for loan forgiveness, for example, public service loan forgiveness, you should already be out. You should be enrolled in the new plan, not wasting time. If you're going for time-based loan forgiveness, you should probably already be out. If you can afford your monthly payment, what are we splitting hairs for? Get going, get back on track with your student loans and move on. The only reason you should be delaying is if you literally cannot afford any option and like that 90 days is going to make the difference for you because like you're getting rid of that last credit card payment or you're paying off your car note or you're in the middle of a move because you're trying to save money. Literally waiting is just costing you $300 a month in interest. It's just stacking on your loans every single month. A delay in your payment is costing you PSLF time. Like, we've been saying this for a year and a half. I think those that have been following us forever know our message. Saving in the Save Forbearance has cost you a lot of money to date, and it's going to continue to cost you money by waiting. And I'm literally not trying to be a conspiracy theorist here. I'm just the math. If you can't make the payment, that's a big difference. But if you can afford any payment, there's no point in waiting. You're literally costing yourself more money. So, sorry, I just get very frustrated on that because like I literally hate seeing people waste money. It's like the most frustrating thing ever when it's like, they're sending you, like, telling you all the things. Michael, tier, I know. Dan, 90-day notice today. It's funny because someone said, is anyone getting their notice today on my video today? And I said, I hadn't seen any yet. And then literally it's like, I got it. And then it's like, oh man, people are getting their notices today. RK2, auto recertification. My loans are placed in administrative forbearance. If you are changing repayment plans or recertifying, the only reason you go into administrative forbearance is if they can't process the application within one billing cycle. And I'll tell you that it's pretty rare these days to see it happen. It does, but it's pretty rare. So as long as they will process your application within the billing cycle, you're not going to go into forbearance. If they can't process it within the billing cycle, yes, you'll go back into administrative forbearance. Mateo, 130K in loans. Can I enroll in the graduated 25-year plan? Please don't, Mateo. I hate the graduated plan. It is the worst plan out there. And it gets so many people in trouble because it's like a sexy tease. And what I mean by this is you'll look at your repayment plan options and you see that low payment. And when I say low, it's probably like $100 less than IBR. It's probably not that much lower than anything. And usually if it's lower than anything, it's also because your income is pretty good. Usually if you have a good, low income, the graduated plan's never a better option than IBR. With that being said, it teases you and then it starts going up and up and up and up and up. And there's a reason why the data says this. Less than 4% of all student loan borrowers are on the graduated plan, and literally 0.002% or something finish on the graduated plan. Nobody pays off their loans on this plan. And I'll tell you why, because I see it all the time. You do it for 2, 4, 6, 8 years and the payments start rising and you're like a frog in the pot and the water's boiling and you can't afford your payment. And then you look to switch. And then you switch to IBR where you could have gone the whole time. But those 4, 8 years, whatever it was, they don't count for your time-based loan forgiveness. They don't count for PSLF. You've made payments that don't get you anywhere. So, Mateo, don't do it. Don't do it. You're going to regret it in 5 years, 6 years, whenever your payment adjusts to the point where you can't afford it. So, and then you've delayed yourself 6 years, 8 years. It always happens. Literally always happens. And it's just the statistics tell me it always happens. So, Jamila, why hasn't financial aid come out yet? School starts next month. So, I don't know what USC's process is, but it's very common that you get your federal loans awarded. They show up on your award letter. They can't disperse the loans until at least 30 days before your first day of classes. I think maybe it's 21 days. And then the school typically won't even offer you any refunds until school starts or the week after. So if you're expecting any kind of money, you're not going to get that until like right before the first day of classes. USC's financial aid office handles everything, and they should not be necessarily bothering you about it unless like you're missing something on your end. Hey guys, we've been going for 15 minutes here and we're up to 60 plus people here. I love it. My name is Robert. I'm the founder of The College Investor, and we talk about personal finance and education, a lot of student loans, a lot of financial aid, a lot of general personal finance. If you don't like, subscribe, and follow our channel, please do. This is what we talk about here. We've been doing it since 2009, and we love to help you guys navigate these subjects. So please like, subscribe, and follow. Tap the screen, throw some hearts down there. Love that. And then please share this out so it reaches the audience. With that said, I will be answering your questions. Just casual Q&A, guys. So drop them in the chat. We'll talk about them, and we'll go from there. Krista, my son said his interest rate on his student loan will be 9%. So Krista, the only federal loans that have a 9% interest rate this year are Parent Plus loans. Very possible. Undergraduate loans are 6.5. Graduate student loans are 8%. If this is a private student loan, that is always based on your credit and your income. And yeah, it could be 9%. It's a very possible thing. C. Bauer, wife has high student loan debt, low part-time income, file separate taxes, moved her from save to pay. Tips. I think you're already doing all the right steps, Seabauer. I think the only thing I would question is the filing separately or filing jointly thing, because you didn't talk about yourself and you didn't talk about the tax filing. Filing separate will cost you more in taxes every day of the week. And so the question is do you save enough on your wife's student loans to make the filing separate worth it tax-wise? One of the examples I use a lot is, let's just say that filing separately raises your tax bill by $2,400. So that's $200 a month. Does your wife's student loan payment lower by at least $200 a month? If it doesn't, it's not worth it. You guys just need to jointly pay that thing off, because you're actually saving on the tax side, which impacts you. Now, if it does work out, well then, yeah, that's the path you want to take on that one. But you got to do the tax math as much as the student loan math. User, how long does a reconsideration submission for PSLF take to review and approve? Months to years. I don't know what you're reconsidering. Non-qualifying payment takes months. April, what happens to someone that goes on Social Security and still has student loans? Nothing different. You got to pay your student loans, and if you don't, they garnish your Social Security. So nothing different. Jake J, what payment plan is best for high earners that want a low payment? Jake, it really isn't about what's best. It's kind of like you got to navigate your situation. So you got two buckets. You got your income-driven plans, and you got your standard plan, standard, graduated, and extended. Income-driven provides for payments based on your income, which are designed for hardship, and they're also designed for loan forgiveness. So Jake, if you're going for public service loan forgiveness, things like that, you want an income-driven plan. That's IBR or RAP. But there's a lot of scenarios that the standard plan might be best for high earners, and you're just going to pay off your student loans because there's no forgiveness program for you and whatnot. So like enroll in standard and just pay it off. I know you want a low payment, but like I can't magic fairy wand it. You just got to financially plan it out. My PSLF application was closed because it says they were unable to reach my employer. What do I do? Submit a new PSLF certification form and then yell at your employer that they didn't docu-sign it. Like, I don't know what your HR did or what, but they got the email and they didn't docu-sign it. So Shaney, go yell at your HR and submit a new application. Eric, what's the situation with the program that forgives federal loans for borrowers in public service? Program is working as designed. 10,000 people a month are getting their loans forgiven. We're going to see, I think Trump's going to forgive more student loans under that program than anybody ever before. It's kind of ironic in a way. So no issue on that front. I don't know what your exact question is. So has auto recertification always been a thing for IBR, PSLF? Caught me off guard. So don't mix the two squiggly lines. IBR is your repayment plan, and you can enroll in auto certification for that. PSLF is for public service loan forgiveness. It's a separate form, separate paperwork, and there's no auto over here. You can auto renew your income for IBR. Don't recommend it. You can. I think you should just submit the paperwork every single year. PSLF, you got to do it as much as you want, at least once a year. So Josh, I am worried about the Department of Education messing things up. Should I switch from Save still? Well, one, you don't have a choice. Number two is I wouldn't worry about it. There's no Department of Education actually even involved in your switching from the Save plan, which I think a lot of people don't realize. You submit your application online. It's going to go to business processing organization, which also could be MOHELA itself. They work many roles. It could also be like one of the accounting firms like Deloitte processes things. Like it gets processed and then it goes to your loan servicer who makes your payment. Department of Education doesn't even look at anything, Joshua. It's all automated. It's all electronic. Just do it. What's up, Matt? Thanks for being here. I always appreciate it. I saw you live earlier. Maybe it was last night. So Nisha, how will I know if the info is not accurate? I don't know what that's in related to, but I'm making a leap here that you mean your payment. So if you don't know if your student loan payment is accurate, go run the calculator. We have a link in bio. You can also go and just do the math by hand. The big thing that people get into trouble with, Nisha, is they're not thinking of what their income actually is. So if you're going to use your taxes, you want to use line 11A on your tax return, adjusted gross income. 11A tax return. You just filed it back in April, March, February, sometime in there. Go find it. See what that number is. That's the number you use if you use your tax return. If you use your pay stub, you take your gross income, the very top line. You don't get to deduct anything from it, the very top line, and multiply it to make the whole year count. Those are the two numbers that you look at, and that's how you calculate what your payment's going to be. Oh, squiggly line. That's okay. Clarify. So yeah, they submitted it. So that's just for your IDR application, though. That is not for PSLF. So just be mindful on that front. George, I don't know, 66 payments on PSLF, was doing the extended graduate. Yeah, so guess what? So George, you are exactly why extended graduate doesn't count for PSLF. Get off of it. Get off of it if you want PSLF. Doesn't count. It's not a qualifying plan. There is a back door called temporary extended PSLF, which is limited by budget, and you got 5 years to go. You better cross your fingers that Congress keeps that program alive for you, or else whatever you paid under extended graduated doesn't count for PSLF, and you're screwed. So switch to IBR or RAP today. And then you're also the prime example of your payments go up. Why no one likes the graduated plan. Do not do that, George. Do not do that. You literally run the risk of not having anything qualify already, and then you're just going to keep it going. Don't do it. It's not a guarantee that extended graduated. They literally have a budget-based constraint on how many people can get it. And once that's done, it is done. And then you will have to lobby Congress to see if they will make an exception for you, which you know they won't. Don't do it. Get on IBR or RAP, like literally right now. Like your PSLF actually depends on that one. Yeah, so November was your recertification squiggly line. They do it about 3 months in advance. I don't know why. I think it's dumb. That's why I like just doing it manually, because you'll get your notification right now 3 months in advance, and you can like wait a little bit longer and then submit your paperwork. Scott, how long can you defer college or loan payments and take more college courses? So first off, I'm not going to gatekeep the answer for you. The answer is, as long as you're enrolled at least half time, you can go back on in-school deferment. That's the answer. You can do that forever. I will tell you from almost 20 years of experience, it will leave you worse off. You will not be happy you did this, and it does not add anything to your financial benefit to do so. So I've seen people try this. The longest I've ever seen someone execute this is about 6 years. And what happens is you go on in-school deferment, but your balances keep growing, interest keeps growing, your loans keep getting worse. Because you have to be half-time, you are still committing a good chunk of time to school. That makes it harder to have a job, to work, to earn income, to start your life, have a family, all these other things, which is also generally what derails people on this, because like they get a spouse, they try to have some kids, like life gets hard and you're trying to do school, and now your loan is just growing. And then you finally throw in the towel. Let's say you do make it the 6 years and you throw in the towel and you can't do it. And now you got bigger loans. You've delayed your career. Your family hates you. Like, Scott, just don't do it. It never works out well. It literally never works out well. All right. When are we rioting? All right. Sean, you can give Department of Education permission to use your tax return, but not grant permission to auto recertify. Correct. They're two different things. One is to like just pull your income for your application, and the other is to auto recertify. April, what's the difference between IBR and RAP? Well, April, that was my video from 2 days ago. Just pop over, take a look at it. But generally, it's they're two different income-driven repayment plans. RAP is the newest. IBR is the existing. RAP uses AGI. IBR uses discretionary income. Slightly different calculations. You just got to run the numbers. L Moment, I have a Parent Plus loan that have been deferred and they are coming due. What is the best plan? L Moment, you're not going to like this answer, but if you have not consolidated those Parent Plus loans, you don't have any choices in your plan. The plan is standard, and that is it. Bridget and Roxy, student aid gov said my payment would be $423, but Ed Financial gave me a bill for $525. So Bridget and Roxy, my real question is which is right? So when you go run the student loan calculator on our website and you pull your actual physical tax return and you look at line 11 and you enter that income into the calculator, which is right? If it's right, it's right. If it's wrong, you can fill out a student loan reconsideration request. So you can, the IBR application, there's another button right below it and it says like, reconsider my income, and you can submit that. And if that doesn't fix it, you just need to put in a new application. But I would also question which is right, because 423 is right and you're sure, then you go submit the second button. So second one says like reconsider. It's like on studentaid.gov there. And then you can ask them to recalculate it. And then if that still doesn't work, I would submit a paper application and with your tax return. And literally like, there you go. So, but do the reconsideration first. B, besides, of course, paying more interest, any downside to the extended fixed standard plan and pay more? No, that's actually one of my favorite approaches. If your goal is repayment, but you want a little flexibility, I like that option. I really do. And the reason is if you are trying to repay your student loans, the standard plan is always the best, standard or extended. And the reason is each month your payment is fully amortized. So that means you are fully paying the accrued interest and principal that you're supposed to pay every single month, but it allows you to make extra payments on the loans easier. So I like it, standard or extended. It's the way to do it. You are on the right track, my friend. JMG, daughters in college. We have private loans under 3, paying about $1,500 a month now. Cool. Chris, always appreciate it. Thank you for being here and subscribing and following. That's, let's see. Wanted to say thank you for probably help. Follow for many years now. User, love it. Thank you. Chris says, those with Parent Plus loans combined with personal loans don't have any options. I am not totally following you, but did you refinance your federal loan into a private loan? Or are you just saying you got multiple loans? Parent Plus loans that aren't consolidated don't have any options other than standard. Parent Plus loans that were consolidated can access ICR and then roll into IBR, but you had to have already consolidated. So JMG, I mean, that's it. You got to pay off those loans. So you got it. All right. Hey guys, we've been going for 30 minutes now. And so if you are just joining us, please make sure you like, subscribe, and follow. We talk about personal finance, student loans, financial aid, everything related to education and money here at the College Investor. And we've been doing it since 2009. So if you're not following us, follow us. If you haven't tapped the screen and thrown some likes down, please do. It goes a long way to boosting the algorithm. All right, Chris, multiple loans, my son and my school loans. So if you didn't already consolidate the Parent Plus loans, you don't have any other options other than the standard plan. If you have consolidated the Parent Plus loans, you can enroll in ICR and then roll into IBR, okay? For your son, I'm guessing those are the Parent Plus loans that you're speaking about, and then your own original loans. You only had to consolidate the Parent Plus loans. If you didn't, then no, you don't have any other options. Your school loans can be repaid under the existing plans. The Parent Plus loans is standard only if you did not consolidate already. Victoria, so I need to apply by a new IDR plan by Friday if I was in SAVE. There's no deadline on Friday. you have your own individual 90-day deadline that you may or may not have received already. With that being said, Victoria, you should be doing the math now. Go run the calculators, understand your repayment plan options, and move at any time. There's not really any good reason to wait unless like you cannot afford any of them and you're actively working really hard to make sure that in a month or two you can afford it. Otherwise, you just need to be switching. Dr. KPZ, yes, RAP does qualify for public service loan forgiveness. Yes, yes, yes. User, there's like I just went through, unless you are literally like cannot afford any option, there's not really any benefit to waiting. All right. Crystal, I'm a teacher and I owe $70K and I'm in forbearance. What plan is best? Crystal, since you are a teacher, you need to be under IBR or RAP, whichever is lowest. You can go hit the link in bio, go run the calculators. And you need to certify your employment for public service loan forgiveness. Because as a teacher, Crystal, you get to get your loans forgiven after 120 monthly payments under a qualifying repayment plan. So being in forbearance is the worst place for you to be because you're not getting any months counting for your public service loan forgiveness over here. So IBR, RAP, and then public service. They're two different programs. You got to do both. So Chris, consolidate. So consolidation is a free government program that the ship's already sailed though. So if you haven't done it, but you said you got a 90-day notice to switch from Save. So I'm curious if your undergraduate loans are in Save. And then the Parent Plus loans could never access Save unless you had already consolidated. So, and you actually had to consolidate twice. So I'm wondering if your loans are separate in your portal and your loans, you need to choose a new repayment plan for. And then the Parent Plus loans, if you haven't been making payments, you need to get on those too. They're treated differently, Chris. So your Parent Plus loans and your undergraduate loans, two separate buckets. And you need to sign up for plans on both of them there. Lovely Rita, my husband got a parent loan for his daughter. Am I liable for that if he defaults? So no, you're not. It's his loan. But if you guys file taxes like jointly, they will take your whole tax return. You have to file special forms as an injured spouse to like even get a refund of your taxes, things like that. And it just F's up your joint financial life. So no, you're not responsible for it. But if he's in default and you're not together going to get a house. You're not together going to get a car, like a car note. Like it really screws up a lot. And so like either work together or divorce. Like I don't understand. Like what the hell, man? How do I know what amount was used to determine my monthly payment? So Aurora Gal, if you just check the box, so when you do the IDR application, it's like this long disclaimer on the first page. That's the consent for them to pull your IRS data. And what it pulls is your tax return that you last filed. And they look at line 11A, your adjusted gross income. And that is what's used to calculate your monthly payment if you link your taxes. Okay. And if you didn't do that and you went past it, you had to upload a document. If you didn't upload a document, they used your tax return. So, hello, hoping for PSLF buyback as a teacher who was in forbearance for 3 years. Hello, my vloggers. Please make sure you read how PSLF buyback is calculated because it's not benefiting you to be in forbearance if you are still in forbearance. If you are going for PSLF, you should already be enrolled in IBR or RAP right now. And then also realize a few things about PSLF buyback. Number one is it uses the calendar year to calculate your monthly payments, not whatever you're supposed to be paying now. So for example, 2025's calendar year uses a 2025 tax return, but so does your IBR payment today. So it's just the equivalent if you're trying to buy back all of last year or just do PSLF. And then guess what? 2026 It's going to use your 2026 adjusted gross income, which is going to be the tax return you file next year. So just be mindful about how it's calculated, because many people are not going to realize any savings with buyback. I've actually seen now we're seeing some buybacks process and they're all like, it's more. And I was like, yeah, it's going to be more than you expect. Buyback should be a very rare exception. You should not be relying on it. It also takes 2 to 3 years to process. Like, just get on IBR. You can put the application in, but don't be like hopeful for it. You should be hopeful you hit PSLF before your buyback even comes into play. Gotcha. All right. The higher payments are so scary. What are we going to do about this as a nation? User, it's a great question. So I've been doing this since 2009. And so I grew up in the world where the payments were higher than they were today. So the IBR plan is the exact same. And we actually only had ICR before that, which is higher. So RAP is generally cheaper for a lot of people than those. The save was great, but to me, it was a very temporary blip on the radar. And so many people this is how we grew up, was this level of payments. User, I was on Save, switch to Pay. You can enjoy Pay for another 2 years, probably in about a year and a half, user. They're going to probably kick you off next renewal cycle, end of next year, somewhere in that. Ginger, I was on a plan that was supposed to end after 20 years. 20 years is up. Does this still work? So Ginger, the only option for 20-year forgiveness today is IBR, but only for borrowers who first borrowed after 2014. So it's impossible for you to achieve 20-year forgiveness today. There are some borrowers that lost in this one big beautiful bill, especially the 2011 to 2014 cohort that enrolled in Pay. The 20-year option's gone. There's no pathway to 20-year forgiveness for borrowers from before 2014 today. And that sucks. There are losers there. So lovely Rita, just realize that though. So if he doesn't pay and he defaults, they will garnish your tax returns. They will garnish his income, which will impact your family. So it's like, you are not necessarily liable, but you will be collateral damage as a result of it. So bear in mind. Sorry, Ginger Woods, that I have to be the messenger for that one. Don't hate me. I'm just the messenger. All right. Chapoy's Queen. If a daughter's parent plus loan is only in the mother's name, can they use the father's income to figure in payments? So that's a question of tax filing status, Chapoy's Queen. If you file your taxes married filing jointly, they use your joint income. If you file your taxes married filing separately, they use your separate income. And the reason for this, guys, is you're telling the U.S. government that you are a unit. You're a unit for taxes. You're also a unit for loan repayment. You don't get to have the benefits of like tax deductions and all the tax breaks and then not over here. The government views you as a unit, or you tell the government married filing separately, we're not a unit. And then if you file married filing separately, it'll only use the one person's income. But by filing separately, you give up a lot of tax breaks. You will pay more in taxes. So there is a lot of nuance to that when it comes to both tax planning and student loans. All right. Zuliama, what if you didn't work in 2020, 25, and 26, but was worker, I don't know. So I don't know what your actual question is, but I love having no income to enroll in a student loan repayment plan. It's the best thing you can do because you'll get a low or $0 payment. So go and file your IDR application and use that. Period Boots, do you have a podcast? We do. College Investor Audio Show. We have an episode almost every single day. It's not me. It's one of our team members. He does a great job. We have interviews with folks. Like we had the Undersecretary of Education on our podcast. We recently had the California State Treasurer on our podcast. So We do, period. It's on whatever platform you enjoy listening, Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube. I don't know. It's there. LC Foster, any new aren't parent plus loan updates? Lots of updates. I don't know where you're going with that question. Jamie, does all the time in forbearance count towards RAP? So time in, I don't know what you're talking about and what forbearance you're talking about, but the safe forbearance counts for nothing. You could buy it back for PSLF and nothing counts for time-based loan forgiveness in the safe forbearance. The COVID forbearance counts for all of it. So I don't know what forbearance we're talking about. Liz, is there a way to consolidate all loans and Parent Plus loans? You were to never, Liz, listen to me. You are to never, ever, ever, ever consolidate those loans unless you are in default right now. No. You don't do that, Liz. The reason you don't do it is because you will eliminate all your repayment plan options, and your new consolidation loan that includes a Parent Plus loan can only be repaid under the standard repayment plan. So no, Liz. No. Jasleen, how can I maximize my PSLF benefits? So the key with PSLF is you have to make 120 payments while working. But your goal should be to make the cheapest possible 120 payments that are allowed by law with a qualifying repayment plan, IBR or RAP moving forward. So some ways that you can lower your income to lower your student loan payments are contribute as much as you possibly can to your 403B, HSA, traditional Roth IRA, save and invest for yourself, and at the same time, you lower your income, which in turn lowers your student loan payments. You get your loans forgiven, and now you got a really nice nest egg of investments going for yourself. Suze Davis, 5 payments left. I'm guessing this is for public service loan forgiveness. How far in advance should I apply for forgiveness? You don't have any choices in this one, Suze. So you're going to work your 5 payments, make your 5 payments. After the 5th payment has cleared, you can submit your final PSLF employment certification form, and it will process. If you are trying to buy back anytime, again, don't recommend it. I mean, we just talked about this. You can put the application in, but you're going to keep making payments and certifying your employment just like normal. You're probably not going to get your buyback. You're probably going to finish PSLF the old-fashioned way, but you cannot submit a buyback request until you have 120 months already certified in the system. Tara, congratulations. Ooh, I love that. She's saying that her student loans got forgiven, and she was just talking to us a month ago. So on that one, Tara, that is great. I'm excited for you. I always love people seeing get their student loan forgiven. User, if I'm doing the 25-year forgiveness, should I only be doing the minimum payment? Absolutely. So if your goal is to get your loans forgiven, anything extra you pay on your loans is wasted money. You're just wasting money. So user, if you are feeling flush, which is usually very rare if you're going for 25-year loan forgiveness, because you have to think statistically like your financial life never worked out to that point. So one, I hope you're on the upswing and you actually don't get 25-year loan forgiveness. But if you're feeling flush this month, how are we looking on all your other debts? Are you credit card debt free? Is your car paid off? Do you have an emergency fund? All those checked, then we start looking at your investments. Now it's time to start building some wealth, right? So like, are you contributing to your 401k or 403b at work, HSA, so on and so forth? Like, don't pay extra if forgiveness is your goal because you're wasting the money. But maybe you're on the uptrend and you have like another year or two period where you're like coming out of a low income and you're moving in a good direction. Use that 1 to 2 year period to like really fix the rest of your finances and then like springboard yourself off into the future. Cindy, if RAP subsidizes interest, can you still make extra payments to the principal? So Cindy, if you make a student loan payment on RAP, it always goes to fees and collection costs first, We don't have those, hopefully, cross my fingers. Then it goes to the accrued interest, and then it goes to the principal every single time. And so I'm really against people paying extra on RAP, because if you got an interest subsidy, you lose it. So like you could potentially have $200, $300 in free money, but your extra payment reduces your free money and it doesn't go to the principal because it goes to the interest first. Also, if you did get a principal reduction subsidy, it could eliminate that. So, Cindy, RAP is not the plan if you are trying to pay off your student loans. Neither of the income-driven repayment plans are the plan to pay off your student loans. If repayment is your goal, standard plans are where you want to live, Cindy. If loan forgiveness is your goal, RAP and IBR is where you want to live. If you're in like a weird intermittent spot with your finances, do the RAP plan, use that extra money to like solidify all the other stuff. Like I was just saying, credit cards, car notes, whatnot. Then decide to move back into standard repayment and just knock that loan out. All right, Suze, well, there you go. 5 payments, and then you submit that the employment certification form after the 5th one clears. You got it. Justin, when I hit 120 payments and apply for PSLF, do I have to call the lender for forbearance? So, Justin, I'm assuming this is for normal PSLF and you're not buying back anytime. My answer is no. You don't call them and you don't ask for a forbearance. It will just happen for you. So you're going to submit your 120th payment. You're going to submit your final employment certification. And then like 1 to 2 weeks later, all your green bars will update. And you're going to see a little thing that says no payments due. That's what you want to happen. If that doesn't happen, I am a big believer in you just keep making payments and get the refund, because most of the time I see that happen, someone's count was wrong and you're going to have to fix it and you're going to have to send in reconsideration requests, and you don't want to be in forbearance, because if you're wrong, you just screwed a lot of things up. So just make the couple extra payments. But I will tell you, this whole year, I have not seen a PSLF take more than a month to process. I get a lot of people that worry about making that payment, and then literally 2 weeks in, their green bars update, no payments due, and then you're just waiting for the next 4 weeks until you get your golden letter. So, EM, is a borrower defense application feasible? Well, it's always feasible if you were personally defrauded by a school and you have proof about it. I will tell you guys that I have been spending a lot more time on threads lately, and holy crap, people are out there being predatory about borrower defense, and there's services now that are trying to sell people on getting a borrower defense application. And guys, borrower defense is a loan forgiveness program that can forgive your student loans if you were defrauded by your college. And that has a very specific example, or very specific rules. And the rules depend on when you went to college. So if you went to school before 2017, your school had to violate a state law to qualify. And the burden is 100% on the borrower to prove that the school violated a state law. And so if they didn't get, like, you can't find the state law violation, you're not going to get borrower defense. Between 2017 and 2020, you got a little bit more reprieve, in that you can have a preponderance of the evidence that a school misrepresented something. And that something could be things like admissions rate, selectivity, qualifications, graduation rates, the transferability of credits, licensing passage rates, program-specific accreditation, tuition and fees. If you can show that they violate, like you got a screenshot or you got a brochure, you can qualify. And then after 2020, the school has to have made a misrepresentation of material fact that you relied upon that caused you financial harm as a result of the misrepresentation of fact. And you need to have proof that they misrepresented the fact. So there is a big reason why a lot of people's borrower defense applications are just in limbo and then getting denied, because there's been some lawsuits, and you guys have seen the lawsuits, but the lawsuits prove some very specific things, and they had the proof, and the borrowers were a part of it. But you know what happened when all those lawsuits were going down and the settlements were happening? A lot of schools like fixed and resolved themselves. And not to say that these issues don't exist. I'm not trying to dissuade that. I still see valid borrower defense applications, but what I see more of is people are like spray and pray, and they're just submitting the application in hopes. They don't have proof. And one thing that happens when you're in borrower defense is you have to make a choice. Do I go into forbearance while they decide my application, or do I skip the forbearance? If you go into forbearance while your application is pending, your loan just keeps growing and growing and growing. And then when you inevitably get denied, you are worse off as a result. Part two is if you skip the forbearance and you make your payments and you pay off your loans before they decide, there's nothing to forgive. So it's like a catch-22 on what happens. I'll also tell you that we have filed Freedom of Information Act requests on the US government, and we have the data on how many borrower defense claims, and I'll pull it up here, borrower defense claims are processed, and like 60% of them are like still pending. They're not even processed. And then 50% of all the claims were for private colleges that were approved. 23% were for-profit schools. There's never been a successful borrower defense claim on a public university, ever. So food for thought. I don't know what type of school you're looking for, but that's just the data. Like, there's literally never been one approved for a public college or university in this country. I don't know. So you can submit an application, EM, but just realize that and make sure you have the proof and it's documented and like you have a valid claim. I'm not really for it if this is just like a spray and pray long shot kind of thing. Daisy, I'm going to hit 10 years very soon. I have 8 more payments to go. Congrats. Do I have to pay every month? Yeah. So public service loan forgiveness requires 120 eligible payments. It also requires 120 months of work. So Daisy, you can put yourself into pay ahead status, but we do not recommend you lump sum your 8 and then get into pay ahead status, because one, your pay ahead status for PSLF only lasts until your next billing cycle, or not billing cycle, recertification cycle. And I can't tell you how many people I've seen get themselves screwed on that front because they thought they were paying ahead 12 months, they were paying ahead 4 and whatnot. Really screws things up. Part 2 is you still got to work the time. So Daisy, like, just work it, make your payments and certify your employment, and then enjoy your loan forgiveness at the end of your 10 years. Jessica, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. Hunter, my buyback request went in on 10/20/25. When would I likely receive a buyback offer? Hunter, my guess is that you're never going to receive one and you're going to finish PSLF before you get a buyback offer. That's my bet. Because if you submitted 10/20/25, I'm guessing you're buying back 14, 15 months. And I don't know when you went back into repayment, but since the average processing time now is pushing 2 to 2.5 years, you're probably going to finish first, which I don't know how you feel about that one. I personally wouldn't care. Bruja, I work for a large charter for-profit. Will they ever allow PSLF for profit? No, I don't think so. Sorry, Bruja. Carla, you can't make a second payment each month towards principal. You can make the payment, but not towards the principal. It's going to go to your payment and they will reduce your interest subsidy for RAP or your principal reduction subsidy if you do that. So Carla, just be mindful. RAP is not the plan to pay off your student loans. Like, it's not. Judas, I went to school and was guided into a private loan and now recently found out they had legal issues. I never knew anything about it and nobody will help me now. So you just kind of heard my whole spiel on borrower defense. You can try to argue that they steered you to it. You got to have some kind of proof, like your old email that says like, this is the only loan option available to you. And if you don't take this, you can't enroll. That's proof. If a financial aid advisor told you that, hey, go check this out, I like this company, that's not proof. And you also probably knew the cost. And so like even whether you borrowed it or didn't borrow it, you knew the cost. So you got to be very mindful on that one. Elariana, what do I do for softball if I can't get one of my employers to respond to the employment verification and I don't have my old W-2 from 2011? I'm guessing that's supposed to be PSLF and not softball. Really up a creek on that one. You need to like walk into their office and ask them to validate that for you. Lindsay, does PSLF require you to work 120 months consecutively? Not at all. Just 120 months. And you can piece that together however you want to piece that together. Take 6 months here, change jobs, whatnot. 120 months. Jessica, what does a discharge amount mean with an income-driven repayment plan? So Jessica, all of the income-driven repayment plans include loan forgiveness at the end of the term, 20, 25, or 30 years, depending on your plan. The amount at the end of the term is what's forgiven, and that's what that number is. Yeah, I mean, Judas, that's what happens. So the longer your plan goes, the more interest will accrue and the more you will repay. It's just compounding math on that one. So if you don't want to pay a lot more money, shorter repayment terms, standard plans, debt snowball that thing. Carla, if you're trying to repay your loans, the regular 10-year standard plan is the bee's knees best plan to do. That is what you want to do because every single month fully pays the principal and interest that you're supposed to pay that month. And any extra payment just goes straight to principal. So if you are looking to repay your loans, that is the best plan to do it on. Not to say the other ones don't work. It's just you kind of lose all the benefits of them, right? Like, what's the whole point of the RAP plan if you're not getting your interest reduction subsidy and, you know, all that kind of stuff? Like, yeah, Judas, they're not bound to give you any info. This was on you to have the proof of it for borrower defense kind of stuff. GSD, received my email today. My payments are going from $275 to $1K. Are you sure? Because I'm just telling you, what's your family size and what's your income? Drop it in the chat. And then do you have a student loan from before 2014 or after 2014, GSD? Because if you are not expecting $1,000 a month payment, the only way you'd have that is if you're making $120,000 or more a year. And when you said I had a 275 before, I mean, maybe you're crushing it now. And maybe that payment was from COVID. I don't know, but drop it in the chat and let's figure out your payment. We can do that together right here. We have calculators. And also run the numbers here in your bio. I will tell you the one thing I am seeing so often is that people are getting their letters. So 2014, we are over 120. I mean, you got to know the numbers, but that also means you're crushing it. But RAP might be your choice because if you're on old IBR, RAP generally beats old IBR. And, you know, deferring is only going to make things worse for you, not better. So please be mindful, but run the numbers first because, like, you know, even at 120 with 2 kids, you don't have $1,000 payment. I can tell you that right now. Yeah, so you're going for PSLF GSD? Oh my gosh. Then you cannot defer. Like, I'm gonna put your wife or your husband, whoever your spouse is on here, and tell them that no. So I don't know what your payments is, but let's see. I'm gonna say, and you got a family size of 4 with 2 kids. You make 134 with 1 kid. 134 with 1 kid. So you got a family size of 3. Yeah, I got, if you are an old borrower, yeah, you're $1,000, but you're at 134 with a kid, 1,067. You got to get it done though, man. She has loans too. Well, okay. Well, that's okay. So GSD, if you both have loans, so your $1,000 payment though is both of your loans combined. So you do realize that though. So like your loans and his loans get added into the pot, assuming that they're federal. Maybe you're going to throw out that they're private here in a second. I don't know. The 1,067, it gets prorated out for the 2 of you. So like, I'm going to say, like, let's just say that you owe 100K and he owns 100K. So it's 50-50. Each of you will owe $500 a month and 1,067 would be the total payment. So they're all federal. Your payments are prorated out. Each of you just both have to be enrolled. Don't let them default or anything like that. Like both get enrolled and like that's your cap. Well, now you know. Okay, good. Now you're feeling a little better. And just get them done, man. You're 2 years out. You can do it. Yeah, so RAP would probably be your best choice since you're going for PSLF. So it doesn't matter. You just choose the lowest. And you said you worked in COVID too. So make sure you certified your employment during COVID because that's like free. That's free time that counts for PSLF. All right, we got that one figured out. You both just got to have those applications in and certify all that time. All right, that makes me feel better for that person. All right, walking. Oh, wait, sorry, I missed a few while we were going through there. We'll go back here. Jessica, your PSLF will keep working. There's no concern on that front. Karen, I'm a teacher in New York. I don't qualify because I consolidated now private. Yeah, so you have private loans. You don't have federal loans. You didn't consolidate. You refinanced if you went private. Refinancing is when you got a private lender like SoFi or somebody that marketed to you and you switched it over. And now you just have to repay those loans, Karen. Sorry. Zoe, recently laid off, was in save. Not sure which plan to choose. So if you go run the calculator, but my guess, my personal opinion is probably going to be IBR because you have a $0 payment with your unemployment. I love being unemployed for your loans. I don't like being unemployed generally, but it's a solid way to take advantage of the income-driven repayment plan system to benefit you. Go apply for IBR, say you're unemployed, lock in your $0 payment for the next year. Walking on Sunshine, I started with my loans in 2009. IDR say, what can I expect for forgiveness? 25 years from whenever you started repayment, assuming that you paid diligently the entire time. COVID counts. Time and save forbearance does not count for that timeline. So, I don't know if you've been in it the whole time, but like 2009, 2019, 2029, 2036 maybe because of the save forbearance. So, Julia, I don't know which one you're looking for here, but you can always play with our calculators too. They're linked in the bio. It's like right at the top there. Karen, I got you because you're private loans now. Shell, is it better to do standard repayment or income-based for new loans that aren't that high? If your goal is to just pay off these loans, the standard plan is the easiest way to do it. If your goal is to go for any type of loan forgiveness and you don't pay off your loans before the 5, 10, 20 years, then you go income driven. John, I'm in save forbearance. Can I go on a hardship forbearance for 6 months? John, if you have to apply for a new repayment plan, you need to enter that repayment plan and then you can request a forbearance. I'm not going to gatekeep the answer. That's the answer. Don't recommend you do that. I recommend you get on an income driven repayment plan like RAP or IBR and you make it work. But I get it if you can't, but you got to enroll in a repayment plan before you can go on another forbearance. S. Thorne Eskimo, consolidated 3-year Parent Plus loan, approved for ICR, and then reapplied. Okay. Sounds like you're doing it right. Maybe it's Southern Eskimo? I don't know. Southern Eskimo. I like it. With that being said, you can apply for IBR after you make your ICR payment, and it'll probably be lower. GSD, I am glad to help you. Please make sure you both apply so that you get it prorated between the two of you. Elariana, the COVID forbearance counted automatically for public service loan forgiveness as long as you certify your employment and it qualified during that time. So even though you weren't required to make payments during the March 2020 to 2023, 2022? I don't know. Now my mind's fuzzy. But for those like 2.5 years, you weren't required to make payments. Automatically counts for PSLF as long as you certify your employment for those years. Drake, what do you show for proof of unemployment? Great question. You can submit your unemployment compensation documents or what a lot of people do is they literally just write a blank letter and they say like date, Department of Education, little letter, and says like, I am currently unemployed and I foresee that my income will be whatever it is, zero. Maybe you have a little income, like $200. I don't know. For the next foreseeable future, please certify my employment or certify my income based on this. Sincerely, your name. Upload that to studentaid.gov. Karen, you have private student loans and you cannot get your loans back to federal. So that is the biggest downside of refinancing federal student loans. Diane, 10 years as a teacher, PSLF, totally possible. Federal student loans, income-driven repayment plan, certify your employment. You can do it. Julia, if your loans are forgiven in 2027, do you have to pay taxes on the money forgiven? Well, what are we getting them forgiven under? Because that's what makes the difference, Julia. If you are getting them forgiven because of an income-driven repayment plan, yes, you owe taxes on it. If you are getting your loans forgiven for PSLF or borrower defense or disability, no, you don't owe taxes on that. Saxon, yes, they do calculate your payment. They count that. And if you don't pay, they will garnish it. So time-based loan forgiveness, Julia, so IBR, ICR, whatnot, it will be taxable. As of now, I guess they could pass a law because 2027 is next year, but it's taxable as of now. Julia, we also have our tax bomb calculator. If you've never checked it out, it's in our bio, and you can get an estimate of what your taxes would be as a result of it. Carla, is there a way to confirm that interest didn't accrue while I was in the save forbearance? You just needed to have your screenshots of it. It didn't accrue for the first year. It started accruing August 1st of 2025. So it has accrued for a whole year since. And you just have to have your screenshots at this point in time. I haven't seen a lot of issues with it, but I don't know if it's all been resolved. Stevie says, Federal Parent Plus loans are the worst. Yes, they are. Well, Julia, most people haven't made it 20 or 25 years. I guess it's really 25 years and gotten forgiveness, and they could just pay it off. If that's you, you probably will have a tax bomb. Or your loans are just so tiny, you actually might not even have like anything that's material. So Julia, go run the tax bomb calculator. Again, most people don't make it that long and then also build up significant assets that they can generally pay off their student loans. So something's not adding up in your conversation. Saxon, you die, your loans die. Stevie, that is true. We coined the borrow and die strategy for Parent Plus loans. It's very important for parents to think about that for estate planning. Saxon, is it too late to file borrower defense before changing to IBR plan? I'm on Social Security. Saxon, the question is were you defrauded in your school and can you prove it? Because you could just make yourself worse off by putting that in and going in forbearance. We already talked about that a ton earlier on the show. Borrower defense has very specific things and you need to be able to prove it. Oh, I'm starting my 9th year teaching public school. What do I have to do to get some forgiveness with PSLF? So walking on sunshine, it requires multiple things. 1, direct student loan. I'm guessing you already have a direct student loan if you borrowed after 2009. Most people do these days. Number 2 is you need to be on the correct repayment plan. The correct repayment plan right now is IBR or RAP. You can also be on pay as you earn or ICR, but they're ending next year. Number 3 is that you need to certify your employment using the PSLF help tool on student aid. And that validates all the years. So you can drop it in for all 9 years if you've never done it before, but you gotta certify it. And it sends it a DocuSign to your employer and they sign it. And that's how you get the credit. Once you do that, you can do it right now to get your green bars updated on student aid, but then you need to do it again after your 120th payment. And that will get your loans processing for forgiveness. So Shell. If you want to pay extra towards your loan, should you make a large lump sum or pay extra each month? Lump sum is generally the best way to go. Just pay as much as you can at it and just keep whittling it all down. I just got my letter from Mohila. I'm unsure of what to do. So Tisha, go hit the calculators. You want to apply for, it kind of depends on your goals. So if your goal is to repay your student loans, get on the standard plan and repay them. If you are not in a financial position to do that, and or you're going for public service loan forgiveness or time-based loan forgiveness, IBR and RAP are what you want to look at. Our calculator breaks it down for you. Pick the one that you can afford. Go do your application for it. Oh, Orchard, I'm in the save forbearance still. When should I get out? As soon as possible? Like, there's no benefit to you, Orchard, remaining in the safe forbearance except your loans keep growing. I don't know if you're doing anything with the rest of your personal financial situation. You're not getting any time towards loan forgiveness. So now, yeah, Chanel, just drop it in, pay it off, go for it. Walking it in forgives all your loans that you are, all your federal direct loans that you have 120 payments on. Some people, depending on, like, you might have undergraduate and graduate loans with different times, like maybe you get 2 rounds of PSLF, but yeah, it forgives all of the remaining loan balance on your loans at the 120th payment. So, or after the 120th payment's made. So public service loan forgiveness is fantastic. Every teacher should be focused on that if they have student loans. It's super easy too. Easiest program to qualify for. Stevie is nailing it. Stevie is nailing it. Just paying more with the forbearance. I mean, even, you know, we published this like a week ago and we get a lot of backlash because I know people don't like to hear it, but the forbearance has literally cost so many people so much money. And even the government's now being like the nonpartisan side of the government's sharing the numbers, and it's outrageous. It's cost the average person like $3,000 just waiting around, and you're just going to have to repay more and more. So walking on sunshine. Yeah. So just do it. Go certify your public service loan forgiveness. Make sure you're in the right repayment plan. That right repayment plan is what gets a lot of people derailed because they're not in the right repayment plan. So again, IBR, RAP, go for it. All right, guys, man, we've been going for an hour. I can't believe we've been going for an hour. If you haven't liked, subscribed, and followed, please like, subscribe, and follow our channel. You know, honestly, we are a news organization. You don't pay us. We don't charge you guys anything, but you know what advertisers look at is our followers. And so like that helps us, and it helps us keep being able to do what we do. Please share this out. And as always, we'll still go for a little bit here. We've got a little bit more time. If you guys have a question we haven't answered, drop it in the chat. And we'll go here for a few more minutes. But it's always nice. I always feel like once I caught up on all your questions. So, all right. And if I missed your question, you might want to resubmit it because I know I get sidetracked in here. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the follows. Are Parent Plus loans standard repayment for 10-year the same or is higher as home equity payments? I mean, I don't know what your home equity payment is, so that's like impossible for me to say. But generally, a student loan is going to be better, or a Parent Plus loan, though, it's going to be better than taking equity out of your home every day of the week simply because of the risk profile. And that Parent Plus loans are simple interest, and then a home equity line is not simple interest. It's compound interest. So you're going to beat it on that side every single day of the week. But I would never take home equity to pay for education for a child. That's such a bad move. So John Jones, what is the best type of financial aid for my college students? So John, I don't know where we're at in this cycle with you, but the order of operations for paying for college is Start with the college you can afford. And what I mean by that is know your numbers, know what it costs, and start there, because there's just some gaps you can't close, right? Number 2 is free money, grants, scholarships, all the things. A lot of people default to the federal Pell Grant, maybe your state grant, but that's the tiniest amount of money you're going to get. Goes back to your college selection. The biggest grants and scholarships are going to come from the colleges themselves by finding colleges that meet financial need or things like that. So then you start there. And then we get to the loan stuff. Federal student loans first, always. The child's $5,500, $6,500, $7,500. Then it's typically a battle. The battle is private loans versus Parent Plus loans. Parent Plus loans, 9% interest rate. Private loans, based on your credit and income. If you can beat 9% with your credit and income, private loan. If you can't, Parent Plus loan is the backstop. So that's kind of the order of operations that you want to think about when it comes to paying for college. With that being said, it's always the loans that get people in trouble, because there is a very, like, you don't get a gold star, you don't get paid more because you spent more on college. And so if you go and borrow $150,000 for an undergraduate degree, like, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. You're not going to get paid more because you did that. The kid that spent $20,000 gets the same starting salary as your kid. So be mindful. It's always that private loans that gets people in trouble when it comes to paying for undergraduate. Most of our student loan crisis today does not involve undergraduate loans, because the most you could really take out is $31,000. Most people take out like $28,000 or less. It's always the private loans, and then it's always graduate school. So, John, it sounds like you got a good plan. You got the first years covered with money saved. So I would always pay your known knowns first. Don't borrow. You also, like I said, get to borrow a little bit more in your junior and senior year. You also unlock more options junior, senior year. Lenders view lending to juniors and seniors less risky than they do for freshmen, because the data tells us 1 in 3 freshmen don't finish. However, by the time you're a senior, it's highly likely you're going to finish. So it's better to lend to a senior than it is to a freshman. With that being said, John, the other thing that gets people in trouble is living expenses, the experience of college. I don't know if your child is going to live in the dorms and that's going to add 20 or 30,000 or more to your bill. That's what gets people. It's typically never the actual cost of school. So hopefully it gives you some thoughts on navigating that. CJ, 35K in loans, 25K with 66 qualifying payments, while the rest have 40. No, CJ, do not ever touch consolidation again. You just have 2 different loan counts. It's okay. One of them's from your undergrad and one's from your grad, I'm guessing. They're just going to finish off when they finish off. Consolidation is going to give you a weighted average of all of that. But I don't think it's going to help you that materially, because your bigger bucket of your loans, the 25K, has the most payments. And you're going to bring the whole bucket down to, I'm going to say 54 weighted average, maybe. Okay. You're going to shave off a year of your biggest balance for bringing up your smallest balance, which is just silly math. So no, CJ, no. We basically don't consolidate, guys. Like, if anybody can do anything, you guys, there's almost 50 of you here on this live. The only people that should ever consolidate their federal student loans moving forward, this is after July 1st of 2026, is people that are in default. There is no other group of borrowers that should ever consolidate their loans. You're only going to make things worse for yourself every single time. So share that message, please, on social media, in the comments. Don't let anyone say the word consolidation anymore. It's bad news. GSD, we got to figure out your loan situation then. But you just get on IBR. We don't even need RAP. Just do IBR. You're so darn close to your forgiveness. Just do IBR. I know it's like $70 more a month. Just do IBR, because you also might have old loans, so that's why you don't qualify for a RAP. I forget your story, but you have old loans. Don't reset your clock. So don't do that. Good thing we caught that one too. Yeah. So. Viv, I'm in a master's programs. Loans are in deferment. Should I go pick a repayment plan or wait till graduation? Viv, enjoy your in-school deferment. When you're all done, you choose your repayment plan. Just get your finances in order. You went to grad school for a reason. Get that job lined up. Get that income rolling. Like, your repayment plan will come. Use this time. Jay, you can pay any student loan off early that you want. There is no penalty for prepayment. Hunter, when I pay my last month in October 27, how soon can I leave my public employment for PSLF? Hunter, I'm assuming you're not buying back. I'm assuming this is just regular PSLF. Give it 2 months after you're done. It'll be done in 2 months, most likely. So, Alexander, how does general forbearance work? And does a servicer like Mohila ask for documents? They don't necessarily ask for documents, but they don't have to grant it to you. You might be better off asking for a hardship forbearance, not a general forbearance, and then giving them some documents. I would also question why you want to go in forbearance, because that usually fucks more people over than it helps. So give us some more context. Melody, I still have not received an email from Mohila telling me to switch repayment plans. Is that normal? Yeah, so we're getting the next batch of those notices going out today. I'm guessing that they've sent out about 1.5 million of notices or so of 7 million. So, not even half of people have gotten their notices yet. Hunter, I think I got you. Maybe that comment was already in the queue. So, Alexander, again, bad news here. Don't do it. But the real question is are you guys married filing jointly? And is your spouse out on maternity leave yet? Or she will be soon, right? So maternity leave is actually the best time to re-enroll your income for an income-driven repayment plan. I know you want to maybe save a little money in advance, but once she stops working, because she will, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, maybe longer, 12 weeks, whatever it is, that's when you certify your income for an income-driven repayment plan. Your wife's not working. She's out on disability because she just had a baby. You're not going to have any income or a lower income for the next 12 months. You recertify your employee or your income at that point in time, and you get a lower IDR payment for the next 12 months. And then the next year, your income-driven repayment plan payment will also be lower as a result, because when they do your taxes this year, you really did have less income, right? So, Jay, I don't think that you're going to see major changes. I don't know what kind of plus loans you're discussing, parent or grad. Which one are we discussing? So, first off, parent plus, grad plus. I don't think you're going to see a lot of changes on either front, but I'm just curious, and I can kind of give you the reasons why, depending on which way we're going. So parents. So no. So parent plus loans, not going to change. The reason is that Congress, in all of their notes, all the way back through the Parent Plus Loan program, have really wanted to avoid parents taking what they perceive as taking advantage of the system. And what I mean by that is, number one, the borrow and die strategy, where parents rack up all this debt and they just die because they're old. Disability as well. They're trying to block parents from public service loan forgiveness because it's not fair that this education isn't for you, but you working in a job that you're probably already in, and then you get your loans forgiven as a result. All of the mechanisms for Parent Plus loan borrowing were basically being taken advantage of. And so part two, though, is that between the parent and the student, you guys can both borrow $92,000 in debt for a bachelor's degree. That is over the value of a bachelor's degree. The value of a bachelor's degree in America today is $40,000 to $80,000. The government's still letting you borrow $92,000. Plenty of borrowing power. We don't want to see the price of a bachelor's degree keep rising, guys. And it's rising past where it's worth in the economy. So no, I don't think any changes are going to happen on the Parent Plus loan borrowing front. It's been a big problem for years and years and years. I know no one likes the change, but you got to start fighting these problems some way. B, I can explain buyback. So PSLF buyback allows you to buy back the time that you spent in forbearance to count for PSLF. You have to meet a few requirements. One is you have to have 120 months of employment first before you can even buy back the time or put the application in. Part two is when you submit your application, you buy back at whatever you were supposed to be paying based on your taxes for IBR or pay as you earn. So you're not going to get like your save payment, for example. They're going to ask for your tax return. They're going to calculate your IBR payment, and then they're going to add up all the months. So if you're trying to buy back save, for example, 24 months, we're going to say, let's say that your payment was supposed to be $100. Now you're going to have to write a check for $2,400 to buy back all of those months on PSLF. The important thing that people need to realize, though, is number one is the wait time is 2.5 years to get your buyback application processed. You are only trying to buy back 2 years. You might actually just finish your PSLF before your buyback's even processed. Number two is buyback is calculated on calendar year. Your actual monthly payments are not necessarily calendar year. So if you're trying to buy back January to December of 2025, they're going to ask for your 2025 tax return. They're going to calculate your IBR payment, and then they're going to tell you what you should pay for those 12 months, right? You know what else uses your 2025 tax return? Enrolling in IBR today. You just apply for IBR, use your 2025 tax return. You're buying the same payment. But this is where people don't realize it's going to get more expensive from them because you could be paying right now in 2026 on your 2025 payment, or if you wait, you're going to buy back at your 2026 income. Buyback is now going to cost people more in the future than it would have just paying off the normal way. So not really a fan of buyback, guys. The math is not working in people's favors on that one. Kitty, we are a news and media organization. I do not do any one-on-one consult. Laker fan, same thing. But if you guys want to shoot me a DM, I'm happy to point you in the right direction. So Kitty, I started working in a school district in September. When do I apply for student loan forgiveness as a teacher? I start working. Oh, it's just the same comment. So here's the thing. The best plan for teachers is public service loan forgiveness. It takes 10 years of working as a teacher. So Kitty, you need to make sure you're on the right repayment plan, IBR or RAP, not in forbearance. Okay. Number two is you need to make payments for 10 years. Number three is that you need to certify your employment with that school district every year using the PSLF tool. That's the best way to do it. Gino, what are we waiting now? What are we waiting now? I don't know. You tell me. Drop another comment. Miles, Parent Plus loan or private loan? Private loan. There's no benefits to Parent Plus loans any longer. If you can beat the 9% rate with that private loan, you are. Just don't over borrow. That's what gets you. Jay, do you think since we can't borrow as much money, law, grad, and masters will cost less soon? No, I don't. But I don't think that they will go up at the price they've been going up. You're not going to see price drops, but you're not going to see price rises. I do think master's degrees might see price drops. So you have to realize, Jay, that master's degrees are historically the problem. They don't add value, they cost money, and people are left worse off as a result. 50% of master's degrees don't pay off. Law school, medical school, all the professional schools with the higher borrowing caps, they typically pay off financially. And most of those borrowers can get private student loans. And so there's no price reductions happening there. Master's degree programs, I don't think you're going to see price reductions. I think you're going to see closures. I think they're just going to shut them down because a lot of the other parts of the law are talking about ROI and losing access to federal student loans. These programs are just going to get shut down. So, Gino, doing regular payments at a buyback for PSLF. Yeah, that's the way to do it. I would still personally, Gino, if I had a payment that I was trying to buy back between in 2024. So if you were trying to buy back like August, September, October, November, December of 2024, I would definitely submit my buyback application. It might not win, but I'll put it in anyways at the 120 mark. and then I'll keep making my normal payments, because what they'll do is they'll subtract your normal payments all along. So like, yeah, I don't really care about buying back January of 2026. It's the same I'm paying now. But maybe I'll get lucky and they speed up my processing, and then I get to buy back my 2024 payments at a tinier rate. Probably not even going to be that much different, but maybe a little savings. But honestly, I would just keep doing my normal payments and see which one wins. Rick, but you're going to be buying back at your IBR rate. You don't buy back at your save rate. So, yeah. And then if you're trying to buy back right now, you're literally buying back at the same payment you're supposed to be making. So, Taylor, will my payment be reduced if my undergrads are forgiven, but I still have graduate loans? Well, yeah, in terms of like, you look at like your actual statement and like they're all listed out. Well, like, yeah, like 3 of your loans or 4 of your loans drop off, and the only ones left for your future payments will just be your grad loans. Yeah, Gino, it's super easy. You literally you don't even have to make this sentence anymore. It's like, I'm just buying back. Like what time? Like boom, it's super easy. We have a guide too, like on how to do the math on how to calculate your buyback payments. But yeah, you just do it on student aid. It's not hard. Rick, I think that's the big thing too. I'm just going to go back. Rick said, what if my payment was 0 on save? I think this is what's really hurting people, is that people think that they are going to buy back at their $0 payment. And so they've been waiting, and they don't realize that, no, you're not. And heartbreaking. We've had a couple people on these lives where they've like got their buyback offer and then they can't afford it. And then they just have to go back to work anyways, because like they got their buyback and it's like $7,000 or something. And they're like, holy shit, I can't afford to write a lump sum of $7,000 in 90 days and going back to work. And so like, it's just heartbreaking. So like, that's the other risk, Rick, is like, what's that payment going to be when you're actually having it come due? I honestly think too, like the slow, like I know people hate this, but like the slow rolling of like these PSLF buybacks, well, I think it's like totally inept. I think it's going to help more people because there's going to be a lot of heartbreaks. Drew, Trump account 529 UTMA. Drew, my follow-up to that though is, what is your goal? Because they're all different tools in the tool chest, right? So like, that's kind of like how I like to view these. They all serve a different purpose. Number one, Trump account, if you're eligible for free money, take your free money, get it. That's a retirement account for your kids, like third priority. 529 plan, saving for education, still the best account, hands down, for saving for education. Again, I don't know where your value set lies and if that's important to you. UGMA, UTMA is the general savings and investing account, kind of middle of the pack. Honestly, because of the way the Trump accounts are treated, there's some nuance. Like you can do a few interesting things. If you're a small business owner, you might be able to contribute to it with tax-free money. If you're savvy, you can contribute to the Trump account. And then when the kid's like 22 years old and has no income, I'd convert it to a Roth IRA and get rid of the Trump account. So there's like some planning things you can do. But again, right tool in the chest for what your goal is and how you want to handle that. Taylor, is it beneficial to file taxes married filing separately when you have student loans? Maybe. Everyone hates the maybe answers, but Taylor, you got to understand how this works, because like you can shoot yourself in the foot. So when you file your taxes married filing separately, you pay more in taxes every day. So you need to run the numbers. When you do your taxes here in January, I'd even start playing around in December, and you should run the numbers, married filing separately, married filing jointly, and see what my total tax is. Not like your refund or anything like that, your total tax. What's that number? And then how much does it go up when you file separately? Then you put both numbers into your student loan calculator and you see how much your student loan changes between the two. So the example I use a lot, Taylor, is let's say you file separately and your total tax bill goes up by $2,400, $200 a month, right? If you divided it out. The question becomes do you save at least $200 on your student loan payments or not? If you do, it makes sense. If you don't, you're just paying more to the government differently. taxes versus student loan payments. So you got to do the math, Taylor. And the hard part is there is no one answer fits all here. It is 50-50, more so because of your tax situation than the student loan stuff, because everyone has like different deductions and kids and child tax credits and who knows what else. Like literally everyone's situation is so different. I can't even tell you, but that's the math you want to look at, Taylor, when trying to assess married filing jointly, married filing separately, and how it impacts your student loan payment. So B, 39 payments left to complete PSLF. Majority was in save at 0. Should I look to buy back? Well, B, you need to be in IBR or RAP today. There's no benefit for you remaining in save, because even if you were buying back, you're buying back months and months at this rate or more expensive. When you get to 120, B, submit the buyback application, but also just continue working and making your payments and see who wins. But you are not even in the ballpark of benefiting from buyback at this point in time, and you're potentially costing yourself more money by waiting longer. So get on IBR or RAP, especially because you're likely earning at least a little bit more money every year. And so you're only making your future self more expensive. So don't do it. Loggers, you can find it in your loan detail, but you can also just do the math on the interest rate. It's simple interest. So it's your loan balance times your interest rate divided by 365. There you go. Fozzie, hello, sir. Sometimes I'm afraid of following my goals and steps I plan to take for the future. We got to give us your goals, man. Carrie, do you think the buyback backlog will decrease by 2027 when I'm eligible? I'm probably not, probably a little bit, but like not materially. And Carrie, again, if you're not already back in repayment, you got to get back in repayment, because you're going to buy back 20. You're going to, like right now, like let's just use July of 2026 as a prime example. If you are in IBR today, you enroll in IBR, you use your 2025 income. If you buy back this month in the future, you're going to submit your tax return and it's going to calculate it at your 2026 income. So this same month will literally, most likely, I'm guessing your income's going to rise because most people's do. You're going to pay more for this same month in buyback than you would just making the payment today. So, okay, you're going to pay. Whew. Okay, good. Yeah, Carrie, but you know, you're just going to make your payments until 11/27, and then it's okay, because here's the thing. The only one that you really care about buying back, like when you think about this, is your 2024 year. Because your buyback cost for all of 2025 is exactly the same as you're paying now. So the only thing you really care about is 2024. So hopefully they shrink that delay down a little bit. And even if you make a few extra payments, they're going to knock off the end, not the beginning. And so you still might get a tiny bit of savings. So Buggy, what happens after they send you a letter that you qualify for PSLF after making all the payments? Congrats. So all your green banners should update, no payments due, and then 6 to 8 weeks later, your balances are discharged and you'll get your golden letter and it'll say like, congratulations, all your loans are forgiven. That's the best. Rebecca, reduced your AGI. Fantastic move there. Always a fan of that one. Star, I'm on forbearance till November and I'm confused to do IBR or not. Stay at home mom at this moment. So Star, calculator, link in bio, go run the numbers. If you file your taxes married filing jointly, it uses your joint income. If you change your mind and do filing separately, you can just use your non-income, but there's some nuances to that. Like I said, it'll cost your whole family more in taxes. Generally, if your family can afford the payment, you should just start the payment. But like you should at least know what that number is, because you and your spouse are probably going to have to work together to make sure that works. Reagan, only about 20% of people have gotten their notices. You're fine. You know, there's 7 million people. We think about 1.5 million have gone out. So no hurry on that one. I mean, you can always change now though too, Reagan, if you want. You don't have to wait for your notice. Rebecca. So PSLF buyback allows you to buy back the time that you were in forbearance to buy back those months for public service loan forgiveness. It requires you to have worked 120 payments already or 120 months. And you buy back at your what you were supposed to be paying under IBR or pay as you earn based on your taxes for that year. And so that's where it's like no one should, if you are going for PSLF, there is no mathematical benefit to you still being in forbearance, especially if you're buying back. It will make you have a higher payment than you would just paying because it will use your tax year instead of your actual payments. So hopefully that helps. We have a full guide there, but all right, guys. Kitty, buyback allows you to buy back eligible months for public service loan forgiveness. So it's a special program for those in public service loan forgiveness to buy back months that they would have preferred to pay under a repayment plan, but they got like kicked into the save forbearance. So, all right, guys, we've been going for over an hour and a half. I can't believe that. That's awesome. Hey, Rick, I didn't even notice you sent me an ice cream cone. So thank you for that. Guys, if you haven't liked, subscribed, and followed, please do, because that is the key to our success here as a news and media company. We're not asking you for money, but we like to charge advertisers, and that means followers. So please like, subscribe, and follow, share this out. And yeah, we'll do a few more minutes. I love your questions, you guys. It's funny how it goes in waves. Everyone gets quiet and then all of a sudden, question. So R. Moreno, what do you recommend for a nursing program and unable to work because of a full-time program? What do you mean, what do I recommend? I'm confused. Like are you looking to pay for nursing, or is that what it is? Like you want to go to nursing school and you need a student loan? Loans. Okay. Now I'm tracking you. All right, cool. So our Moreno is the order of operations is fill out the FAFSA, get federal financial aid, see if you qualify for state financial aid, and then federal student loans first, and then you can supplement with private student loans. Also, ideally with nursing is you just got to minimize those costs, man. So like, can you go to community college and start there? Can you take any of the online schools, minimize your costs? Whatever it is to minimize the cost, because like it's very plausible to like just rack up a ton of debt with nursing. And while nursing does pay, it still sucks to have all that debt. So I see you're saying a full-time program. Hopefully like you can just do the numbers and get it done. But that's the order of operations. FAFSA, federal grants, federal loans, private loans. Carrie, if I manually submit my income due to selling a house in 2025, it's not based on AGI. No. So Carrie, if you use your pay stubs, it uses your gross income from whatever's on your pay stub. So top line, not bottom line. Now, if you have a massive capital gain because you sold a house and like it could benefit you to do that. Like the other thing you could do, Carrie, is you do that right now. Well, you do it right now. You're going to make a few payments and then when you file your taxes in March, let it process, and then you just submit your income recertification early to use your tax return. So that's what I would do. Because like you have to recertify your income annually, but you can also do it sooner. So Gino, which one's correct? That's the key. So run our calculators, make sure you're using the right income. And then again, you can submit, I don't know if you were on the live there, but when you go to the IDR application, one, if it's correct, it's correct. Like, okay, maybe they made a mistake. They've definitely been making mistakes, but only you know what's correct. And you can do the math by hand. You can use our calculator, whatever it is. If it is incorrect, there's the first top button on studentaid.gov. You click on IDR. The first one's like submit your IDR application. The second one is like recalculate my payment. Click on that one and you can have someone recalculate your payment. If it's still not recalculating right, then you need to manually send in your tax return. But make sure first. I've been seeing a lot of people, getting it wrong. I have not been making extra payments on lower interest rates because the market is good. Is this okay? Miguel, it is okay. I mean, again, you're going to have to pay off your loan eventually because I'm guessing you're in the repayment camp, not the forgiveness camp. But also realize that the market has had an exceptionally crazy 10 plus years here. And so I don't know what you consider low interest debt, but I don't generally, unless you have a COVID student loan at 2.5%, like these 6% loans, I don't view that as low interest debt. Because even net average stock market after fees and taxes in a taxable account, you're breaking even. So, yeah, I feel like I'm overpaying. Does the extra money help me? Well, if you're going for any type of forgiveness, paying extra on your loans does not help you. If you're trying to repay your loans, the more you repay your loans, the better. But when you're telling me they're calculating your payment based on your income, you're probably not in a plan that's even trying to repay your loans. Sylvia, does having money in the bank affect your FAFSA? Yes, it absolutely does. So students' assets, Sylvia, if you're a student, I don't know if you're the student or the parent, student assets are assessed at 20% and parent assets are assessed at 7.64% or whatever it is. With that being said, you don't get free money from the government until you use your money. I think a lot of people just think that oh, I'm going to get all this financial aid and you have money in the bank. It's they expect you to use that money in the bank to pay for college. And then they might give you some other money on top of that. So Sylvia, for you as the parent, all of your assets count for you except for your home. Well, no, withdrawing it doesn't change the fact that you don't have it, Sylvia. You still have to report it or you're committing fraud. Things that don't count against you, your home, retirement accounts, things like that. Some ways that you can get around this, Sylvia, is if you have debt, you can pay off your debt because you don't report your debt. The government doesn't care that you borrowed a bunch of money for your car or whatnot. So you could take that out and pay off your debt and then it's not in your account and it doesn't count. It's a great way to lower your assets for the FAFSA. I also think a lot of people anchor around having money in the bank and it's what are we talking about here? Because I think a lot of people freak out. They're I have $10,000 in a savings account and it's well, yeah, that's not going to impact your FAFSA. That's not a lot of money. So hopefully that helps. Miguel, I have one 6% and one that's been making extra payments a year. Average. Amy, we have a Parent Plus loan and missed the deadline for consolidation for forgiveness. Is there any options? No, Amy, I'm sorry. You only can repay that loan under the standard repayment plan. Two moms and confetti. Well, first off, Sylvia, how do I know what will affect my FAFSA? It's a great question. So, Sylvia, we have a student aid index or SAI calculator on the College Investor linked in bio. And you can go put in all your money, the kids' money and their assets, your money and your assets, and you can see what your SAI is and what that looks like. But it's important to realize a lot of people anchor on this. Federal aid is the least amount of aid you're going to get. You get a Pell Grant. State aid, second least amount of aid you're going to get. You're going to get maybe a little state grant. The big money comes from the colleges that you apply to. So if financial aid is extremely important to you to pay for college, you need to make sure you're crafting your college list with colleges that are very generous in financial aid dollars, both on the merit side. So does your kid have a high GPA or test scores or does something unique, or on the need-based side? The need-based side is going to really factor in though too on how much income you have, assets you have, because your little money in the savings account, that's not as much as your income, things like that, and other assets that you might have. So go run the student aid index calculator and you'll get a good idea of what your SAI will be, which in turn you can use to start plugging in some of these things and navigating that. But your college list is going to be the biggest factor. For example, if I needed financial aid to go to college, I'm probably not going to apply to a lot of state schools. My kid's either going to go to the community college and live at home or live at home in our state school. We're not going to apply to any other publics because they're not going to give me any other financial aid. My only savings from the public is living at home or going to community college. Otherwise, if financial aid is very important to you, you're probably going to need to look at a lot of the private schools that are generous with their financial aid dollars. Now, your mileage may vary in some states. I'm in a state that is not going to give you very much. All right. 2 moms, confetti, my loan calculator, payments over $1,000, which is not doable. So we need more to the story, 2 moms, confetti. If you have over $1,000, I'm guessing you're making over $100,000 a year and you don't have kids, or like $120,000 a year with maybe a kid, something like that. Is that the case? Yes, no, maybe so. We really need to know your family size, your income, and do you have loans from before 2014 or after 2014? Okay, so no, I don't know what the no was to, but I'm guessing it's like to your income. 2 kids, $100,000 yearly. All right, let's go figure out what your payments are. Do you have a spouse too? I think that's the other important one. All right, I'm going to say family size of 4, 2 kids. So I would really rerun these calculators, 2 moms and confetti, because if you make $100,000 a year even, that's your adjusted gross income, family size of 4 with 2 kids, your RAP plan payment should be $650. And then granted, maybe you make $110. Your IBR payment, and this is where the 2014 thing happens. If you borrowed before 2014, it's $665. If you borrowed after 2014, it's $443. So I would venture that the $1,000 payment you're seeing is the default standard plan, and or you were in an income-driven repayment plan before and you never recertified your income lately. And so that's what you default up to, because I put in a loan balance of 80 grand. I'm just guessing. The standard plan payment on an 80 grand loan is about $1,000. So, I'm just wondering on that one. And you can run the calculator, link in bio, go fiddle with all the numbers. Make sure you're using your exact income from your tax return. Line 11. This is where people get into trouble. They're saying $100,000 a year. No one makes exactly $100,000 a year. Like if it's $102.65, whatever, put that in so that you get a good, accurate payment. Run the calculator, apply accordingly. That still sucks. Like, don't get me wrong, but $500 a month is better than $1,000 a month. Brandy, I went on the standard extended plan after doing the IDR application. That's fine. Just realize that plan is designed to repay your loans. It's not PSLF eligible if you're going for loan forgiveness. So if your plan, Brandy, is to repay your student loans, fantastic. I would throw some extra money at it time to time. Rock and roll. Zeke. Clergy loan from 2019, still possible. So I don't think being a member of the clergy is eligible public service loan forgiveness employment unless you're going and working somewhere else. And is that a federal student loan or not? So Nguyen, what do you think about these universities in Italy? Are you an American and, are you just looking to go overseas? Not familiar with that university in the least, but what I can tell you is there's still a value to a bachelor's degree, and how are you paying for it? What's your plan? If you just want to go study abroad and do the thing, do it. I know a lot of people that go to international universities, so. Yeah, Brandy, that's a totally fine plan. Just if you're not going for PSLF, you're repaying your loan, that is where you want to be to repay your student loans. Zeke, so federal student loan, so PSLF, the other thing that's required is that you have to work in public service. You need to be enrolled in an income-driven repayment plan, all things. Yeah, extended is a long time. I mean, that's why your payment is so low. You're just drawing it out. You're also making your overall total cost a lot more expensive because of the time. So like, Brandy, like mathematically, if your goal is repayment, the faster you pay off that loan, the less it will cost you overall because all the interest that you add for every single extra year you have that loan. So just some mindset. I know a lot of people really focus on like their monthly payment mindset, and that's fine. I mean, you got to balance the budget every month, but you also want to look at like the whole wealth picture for yourself. And the faster you eliminate that debt, the wealthier you'll likely be. No, you're fine. Again, you're fine. Well, if you're already in it, you're already in it. That's it. All right, guys, we are coming up on the 2-hour mark, and I think I'm getting close to being done here. So if you guys have any last questions, now is the time to drop them in the chat. If you haven't already liked, subscribed, and followed, it's also the time to like, subscribe, and follow. And we will try to get back on a regular weekly live Q&A now that we're past the halfway point of summer. Crazy. Thanks for the hearts, guys. You are welcome, Brandy. All right. Oh, Sylvia dropping one in. My daughter just graduated. We have a loan for $95K, and my other daughter will start college next year. Ouch. Ouch, Sylvia. Oh my gosh. I just, so much debt. We'll have to take, I'm in trouble. You are, Sylvia. So I don't know how much like radical transparency you have with your children about it, but it's like you need to be very transparent. This is what we have. This is what we owe. This is what I can afford to pay. This is what colleges that we can afford, and craft your college list. Like, Sylvia, like you're getting older and you want to retire, and you don't want to be a burden on your daughter. And so it's, having a tough conversation today, will save you from 15 years of animosity, 20 years of animosity later as you age. So like, I know you feel like you might be breaking someone's heart today, but a better approach is literally radical transparency. And by the time, like both your kids should fully know all your family's finances at this point in time, how much you and your spouse make, what you have, how everything's titled, because you're both getting older and they're going to take over for you one way or another. So you might as well start to have these conversations and make it easier so that everyone can make more informed choices. Especially with the new like federal borrowing limits that are going into effect, you can't get a Parent Plus loan anymore for that much. You can only get a private loan for that much. And can you afford a private loan, right? The rules have changed since your daughter that just graduated. Like the government's not going to let you do that anymore. The most you can borrow federally now for your next kid is $65K in total federally. The child can, of course, take their loan. But yeah, the rules have changed. All right, guys. Well, if that's all the questions, we are made it to the 2-hour mark almost. I'm calling it. Thank you guys for being here. We will be back next week, hopefully with another live Q&A. Oh no, you threw that one in there right when I die. Please don't do that, Sylvia. Please don't do that. So we're going to have to jump in on this one just because like it just hurts my heart. My daughter is paying the Parent Plus loan that I took out for her. If you have not heard my story about this, Sylvia, because I think it's your first time here. So one, I've been writing about Parent Plus loans. You can go find my articles on Parent Plus loans and estate planning. This is like literally what I do. It's one of the earliest things I've ever talked about. So Sylvia, you right now are literally taking money from your child that needs it. Because look, perfect. It's a private loan, not parent, same deal. So, but here's the thing, Sylvia, I appreciate that she's paying it, but you have lived your life. Like, I'm not trying to poo-poo your life, but you're older, you're settled, you probably have your career, your mid-career, late career, looking at retirement. Like, you are now asking your child, who is at the prime of her life, that is literally trying to start it. And you see all the headlines that kids can't buy houses and kids can't do things and no one can start a life anymore. And it's like, yeah, because they made a series of bad decisions that you can prevent by not having them pay this kind of stuff. Because she could take her paycheck and actually use it to buy a house and start a family and give you grandchildren and all the things. And you can stop the second daughter from having the same problem and not being able to start their life in their 20s, like normal people should, because of the crippling debt. So Sylvia, don't do this for your second kid. Radical conversations. First kid, really see what you can do to not make this their burden. Because look, you're on the backside of the equation. Sorry, you are. Your other kid's on the up and up. Don't chop them short. Don't do it to them. Literally. What's a good amount? What's a rule of thumb for your total student loan amount? Never borrow more than you expect to earn in the first year after graduation. Also realize that the value of a bachelor's degree in America today is $40,000 to $80,000. Sadly, it's on the lower end of that spectrum for females, and it also depends heavily on your major and career field. With that being said, you don't get paid more because you spend more on college. Like, just think about this. Like, ignore the data. Like, just know the common sense thing. Like, you and a friend roll into an employer for a job interview for the same job. They don't ask you, well, how much did you pay for college? And then give you more money because you paid more. No, you guys get the same amount for an entry-level job, same amount for a teacher. It doesn't matter. The people that are better off are the ones that spent $20,000, $30,000, or $40,000 versus $80,000, $100,000, $120,000, because you're all getting the same job. So accounting, great job, but same thing. Don't spend more than $40,000 or $80,000. Remember though, there's ways to minimize the cost by thinking outside the box. Number one, Emmy, AP, dual enrollment, CLEP exams, as many credits as you possibly can in high school that you can now maybe get done with your college degree in 2 or 3 years. You save money by saving time. It also might just let you go to a more expensive college simply because you have less time in school. If you didn't get enough when you were in high school, community college, online classes, employers that pay for it, make sure the kid has a summer job at Chick-fil-A, use their tuition reimbursement, get some classes done at a community college. Like, there's ways to do it. So then when you actually get to like your 4-year college, you can spend either less time there, which is less cost as well, which in turn allows you to have a better return on the investment of college. So now we have definitely made it past the 2-hour mark. I hope that helps, guys. Don't overborrow. Please, Sylvia, work this out with your family. Like, I'm like literally want to give you a hug, but also like we need to break open the finances for those kids, because like everyone needs to be on the same page. You, your husband, your 2 kids, freaking lay it all on the table, break it on down. All right, guys. Thanks. Till next time.